help and got the Obama administration behind, and all they needed was a chance. On March 10th, 2020, COVID hit, the Biden campaign shut down. The reason I know that was, where was Joe Biden? Detroit. He was with me at the new Jeep plant that was under construction when this country got shut down. And I think it's really appropriate that he's here as we open back up. And Detroit, this opening day is a lot different. Governor Whitmer has been an enormous supporter, and now that Jeep plant is open with 4,000 workers working over on Mack Avenue building the Grand Cherokee L's. And then General Motors opened Factory Zero, where they've got 2,000 workers building the electric Hummers and Silverados and Cruises. And Ford Motor Company is renovating that train where they will be designing the automated and electric vehicles of the future in the city of Detroit. And with the help of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, we are building Michigan Avenue into the most advanced roadway in America that will be designed to make it easy for the electric and automated vehicles to work, so that as the innovators build these new features, they'll try them right here in the streets of Detroit. And I see Andra Rush. The resurgence of the auto industry in Detroit isn't just the assemblies. It's the abandoned Kettering High School site is now the Dakota dashboard plant with 500 people making dashboards for the Jeep and Andra Rush's outfit. The long-abandoned Cadillac stamping plant is about to be reopened as a 500-employee Lear seating plant for the GM cars, and we are very shortly going to announce a new plant where the site of the long-abandoned AMC headquarters on Plymouth Road was. And this week, with the help of Joe Biden and the American Rescue Plan, we are going to finally take down the crumbling Packard plant that closed in 1958 to build a new facility on that site. That's what happens when you have a president and a governor and a mayor who all believe that Detroit can lead the world in manufacturing. It's why we have a lower unemployment rate now than we've had in the city before the pandemic, and why we are today not just celebrating the reopening of the auto show, but celebrating the resurgence of manufacturing in Detroit. And I have the privilege now to introduce a man who's been a huge part of this, who's just done an outstanding job at making sure that our auto workers are treated fairly, and the great job they're doing building these cars. Please welcome UAW President Ray Curry.
Good afternoon, Detroit! Hey, what an exciting day that we have in front of us. A true honor for the city of Detroit, the hardworking men of the UAW, and to have our president here on Media Day. It's an exciting piece when you think about the things that have taken place over the last year and a half under this administration, with a number of things that have been signed into order. Infrastructure bill, the science and chips bill to be able to get vehicles moving once again. And most recently on yesterday, the Inflation Reduction Act. We couldn't be more prouder and committed to what that actually means in this industry, what that actually means with regard to clean vehicles, what that means to the investment that's taken place. And this president has shown his investment not just in the last year and a half. His commitment to the city alone and to this industry dates back when you look at what happened in 2009. And a lot of us say, why would you reflect on such a dismal time? 2009 was a breaking point for this industry. And this president at the time was part of an administration that stood with this city and stood with so many committed to manufacturing vehicles and making sure that this industry survived. And when I think about that alone, I'm excited to be able to see what came out of that. New engineering, new technology, new vehicles that are designed, and new vehicles that have year-long waiting lists on them. That's the type of demand that we want to see. That's the type of commitment that we have with this administration, and we've had it for so many years. It's an exciting piece. He's driven so many of these vehicles, and just think about this, Michigan. Having the president come and tour Factory Zero, having the president come and tour the F-150 Lightning plant, having the president come and tour every exhibit out there of Detroit 3 made vehicles was a huge commitment for all of us. A commitment that we all need, that we should all recognize and know he's got our back. And I'll tell you one other thing, we've got his back. So, thank you for all being here today. Thank you for supporting a great leader. And now at this time, I'd like to introduce EPA Administrator Michael Regan. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's hard to follow Ray Curry. I can tell you what, without Ray's leadership, we wouldn't be where we are today. So another round of applause for Ray Curry. Listen, I'm honored to be here to join President Biden today, and thanks to his leadership, we're moving quicker towards a cleaner, healthier future, much sooner than many of us thought we ever could. I'd also like to thank my good friend, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, for the strong partnership that EPA and DOT shares. From day one, President Biden made it clear that addressing our most pressing challenges, from the climate crisis to environmental justice, would require a whole-of-government approach. From DOT to EPA, we're carrying out that mission every single day, both in terms of our collaboration across our federal family, but also the collaboration that we have with our unions and our industry partners. The president set a high bar when it comes to our nation's transportation future, with the goal of achieving net zero by 2050. And so many of you are well on that way, with strong commitments to reduce pollution and drive innovation. I've met with so many industry leaders, so many union leaders, and see this work in action. And let me tell you, I'm extremely optimistic about where we can go together. With the historic funding from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act, we are accelerating further and faster than ever before. These are game-changing laws led by President Biden to tackle the climate crisis, clean up the air we breathe, and put people to work in good-paying union jobs all across this country. I'm also especially proud of the funding from the infrastructure law dedicated specifically to making our yellow school buses cleaner and healthier for our children, as well as the billions of dollars being invested through the Inflation Reduction Act to clean up dirty diesel vehicles like those garbage trucks going through our communities, especially our underserved communities, and pollutions that will clean up our ports and our schools. Folks, these are unprecedented funds, coupled with the ambitious car and truck standards that EPA established last December in full partnership with many of our industry players and the union, and it will provide a strong launch point for the next phase of the standards that we have to do for the future. So folks, we are ready. We're ready to partner. We're ready to continue, and we want to continue with the strong momentum that we have. And speaking of momentum, I'd love to introduce now my good friend, Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Good afternoon, Detroit. What a joy to be in-person at the Detroit Auto Show, and what an honor to do it alongside the President of the United States and my great friend and colleague, EPA Administrator Michael Regan. This is an administration that believes in this country and believes in this country's auto industry, powered by all of you. I'm a Michigander by adoption. I'm married into it. But I am a Hoosier by birth, the son of an auto town. And I saw, growing up in South Bend, the hometown of Studebaker, that when we build cars, it's not only building vehicles, it's building livelihoods, it's building neighborhoods, it's building futures. I also saw what happened, even though it was before I was born, our city's life dominated by the loss of that company because it was unable to innovate and keep with the times and survive the 1960s. That's why I'm so proud to see what you're doing right now, because America is not losing a step. Under this administration's leadership and with your hard work, America is ready to lead the way into the rest of the 21st century with the kind of automotive technology that will save people money, create great jobs, and lead to a climate that our children are going to thrive in. And you have a lot to be proud of for being at the heart of that. You're going to be leading the way, but we are standing with you with this administration, especially as the automotive industry goes electric. Something that is going to happen, but three things are not guaranteed. Will it happen quickly enough to help us beat climate change? Will it be affordable enough that every American can benefit in an equitable way? And is it going to be a made in America EV revolution? We are partnering with you to make sure the answer to each one of those three questions is a resounding hell yes. And we're backing that up under the President's bipartisan infrastructure package with a historic investment in the roads and highways and bridges, as well as the transit, the rail, every part of the infrastructure of this country, including that grid that's going to power the electric vehicles of the future. And we'll be talking more about that tomorrow. I'm so proud to be part of such a transformative administration, from the infrastructure law to the CHIPS Act that's going to help you get those cars off the line and into customers' hands, to the Inflation Reduction Act that's going to help more Americans afford to participate in this extraordinary EV revolution powered by the workers and the companies that are showing off their phenomenal work here. I am so proud to be part of this moment, this transformative moment in American transportation, and you all are at the absolute heart of it. And with that, I have the great honor of turning it over to a great friend of the President, of the administration, and a great friend of the American automotive industry, the incomparable Representative Debbie Dingell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Is labor in the house? And I'm in red for labor today. Solidarity. So I wasn't planning on speaking, so I have no prepared remarks. I do want to introduce my colleagues from the House of Representatives, and we are all so proud to be with President Joe Biden today. I'll tell you a story in a minute. But the senior member of our House delegation that's here, making this a bipartisan trip, a man who's with us much of the time and we're going to miss, Fred Upton. There they are. And then my colleague who came in with me, I wish she wasn't leaving, Brenda Lawrence. whose family has been friends of the Dingle family longer than any of us will talk about. Somewhere is Haley Stevens, and I don't see her, but her family, oh, there you are. You're not with everybody else. Haley Stevens and her family's here. And the woman known as the other half of Double Trouble, my dear friend, Rashida Tlaib. So I'm going to be short. I am short. I invited he's a car guy. I'm a car girl. You all know that. So I invited him to this car show a couple months ago, and then I was at the White House, and I said to him, Mr. President, we've invited you to the Detroit Auto Show, and it's in September, not January. He goes, Debbie, make them let me go. Make them. So I did call his senior staff and said, he told me that. But I am glad that he's here, and I'm glad to welcome him to the state that put the world on wheels and is going to continue to lead the world in innovation and technology. Nobody does it better than us. And I also said to him, it is very important that you have moments to talk to the working men and women of the unions in Michigan who are the backbone of our workforce. We love you. I see a man standing up over here. Shri is going to be the next member of the delegation come November. Shri, we know you're going to be with us and vote with us and keep Michigan at the forefront. So I just want to say I'm so happy to welcome the president, who I've known for a long time. You all know that Joe Biden and John Dingell were best friends for 40 years. And I sometimes want to cry, I shouldn't have said that. John Dingell loved Joe Biden, and Joe Biden was always there for me. When John Dingell got sick and they thought he might not make it through the night, Joe Biden was at that hospital in 1 hour and said, John, you can't leave yet. Debbie needs you, and I'll never forget that. That's the man this man is. And he's the right man to be president of this country at this time. So I'm happy that he is here. I'm just so... But I didn't mean to get serious. I'm just so proud he's here. I want to introduce you to the other half of the Debbie caucus. Let's hear that Michigan welcome for the senior senator, Senator Debbie Stabenow.
Michigan and hello, Detroit. We are so excited to have the original car guy with us. Isn't it wonderful to have a president of the United States who really in his bones is a car guy? And isn't it wonderful having a president of the United States who knows how to say the word union? Because we know that it was the auto industry, it was the founders here in Michigan and the UAW that created the middle class of this country. You're welcome. You know, it's been challenging a couple of years, we all know it. But the exciting thing for us is that coming out of this pandemic and having to work hard to save lives and get kids back to school and help everybody get their lives back, we put our heads down and we started working on our economy. And after less than 2 years, we already have almost 700,000 new manufacturing jobs in our country. And we know what it takes to make that even more. I mean, that's before we get these chip fabrication facilities back to our country. Whoever knew? But we did know, and I've been saying for a long time, we need to make things in America. We need to bring jobs home. We should not be dependent on overseas. So with the slimmest of majorities, we have a slim majority in the House, and you can't get any closer in the Senate than 50-50 with the Vice President casting the tie. We have done more to advance and jumpstart manufacturing in our country than anyone in my lifetime, frankly. Between what we've done to bring jobs home through the CHIPS Act, the investments in rebuilding America. I'm so excited that my legislation to have a Made in America office and truly have Buy America laws that actually work. So we're buying American products made by American workers and American businesses. That's now law. That's now law. And on top of all of the different things that we come to today, on top of everything else, where we have given a huge jump start to clean energy manufacturing through the Inflation Reduction Act. This is an exciting moment. You know, we've been talking about production tax credits for batteries forever, and support we need for EVs as well as wind and solar forever. I've had the bill forever on battery production tax credits, and with our president and our majorities, it actually passed in this bill. And why does it matter to have more than just an investment tax credit? Because if you have a production tax credit, you don't get it unless you produce the product in the United States, which is why that is so very important. So there's a whole range of things, and I know President Biden is going to talk about where we have come from in all of this. But the bottom line is, we know, nobody has to tell us, that if you're going to have an economy, somebody has to make something. And that's what we do in Michigan. We make things, we innovate, and then we make some more. And we are at the leading edge of what is happening in our country. We are, you are, the workers, the engineers, the business people, everyone in this room. We are the ones that are leading that effort. And I can't think of a time that is more perfect when you have a mayor of Detroit who gets it, when you have a great union leader that gets it, when you have a great governor who gets it, we have a president who's the ultimate car guy, and a whole bunch of us that just work our hearts out every single day for you. We have a moment here that we are grabbing onto. And in history, they're going to have lines around this moment. And it's going to have Michigan written all over it. Because we are the ones that are going to be leading our country forward to bring back the jobs, to support our workers, to create the jobs of the future. And that's what we are doing. I'm proud to be your partner. I want to introduce a great partner that we all know about, and you know, it's so exciting to be putting those federal funds out there, right? Secretary Buttigieg, where are you? Secretary Buttigieg, those great federal funds to partner with our governor, who has said what? She's going to fix the damn roads, and there's enough orange cones out there that I actually believe her. We couldn't have a better governor during a very difficult time for us, who's courageous, who's smart, who works hard, who loves Michigan and fights for us and wins every day. Governor Gretchen Whitman.
I think this step is for Debbie Dingell, but I'm going to stand on it. Thank Thank you, Senator. Thank you, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with all of you and to welcome our friend, President Joe Biden. So we are coming together today in honor of the world's greatest auto show, right here in the city of Detroit, Michigan, right? And this is our chance to show the nation what we in Michigan are capable of. We are tough. We have faced down once in a century and once in a generation challenges. We worked smarter, and in 4 years, we have passed 4 balanced, bipartisan budgets. We have not raised taxes by a dime, and we have paid down nearly $14 billion of debt and brought our rainy day fund to an all-time high of $1.6 billion. And in the midst of all that, we made the biggest investment in higher education, in K-12 education, and in skills attainment. So word to the world, Michigan is ready to compete. Now, of course, we're still Michigan kind, of course. Michiganders stand ready to share an Oberon with anyone, right? And we win, of course. We are strong, we are practical, and we are competitive. In the last year alone, we have secured investments to build the future of mobility and electrification here in the great state of Michigan, maintaining our automotive edge. $7 billion investment, the largest in GM history, building batteries in the state of Michigan. A $3.2 billion investment from Ford, adding 3,200 jobs across southeast Michigan in advanced mobility. A massive investment from Stellantis at their Dundee engine complex, and 8,550 workers from Detroit building automobiles right here in Motor City. A $1.7 billion investment from LG Energy Solution building batteries and 1,200 good-paying jobs. And we've opened up high-tech R&D in the state of Michigan as well. The facility for rare isotope beams at Michigan State, the Bacher Innovation Center in Washtenaw County, and a major expansion of Pfizer in Kalamazoo. And I have signed, yeah, we can cheer for that too, I see you. Signing over 900 bipartisan bills, many that are geared to supporting advanced mobility and putting good, hardworking Michiganders in good-paying jobs. And we have secured investments in semiconductors, right? The thing we all appreciate, makes the whole world go round. SK Siltron, Hemlock Semiconductor, and KLA right here in Michigan. Calumet Electronics in the Upper Peninsula, building and bringing the chip supply home from China to North America, right? And Mr. President, I know he's listening. We are not done yet. We're just getting warmed up. Last month, I signed an executive directive to harness every available resource from the recent Bipartisan CHIPS and Science Act so that we can build on the work we're doing in semiconductor manufacturing right here in Michigan. Now, all these investments are to bring industry to Michigan. However, they've got to be paired with investments in our workforce, the people that make it all happen. So in addition to being the home of Motown and Mackinac Fudge and the most beautiful natural resources on the planet, the union force in Michigan built the middle class that the whole country benefited from. As governor, the best thing about Michigan are the people that call this great state home. I can tell you I see it every single day. The hardworking women and men who show up and give a hard, full day's work so they can take care of their families and they can make Michigan proud. And that's why, as governor, I reinstated prevailing wage for state construction contracts. So I we crack down on worker misclassification and why I've appointed over 200 union members to state boards, commissions, and positions. And right now, thanks to the hardworking people, the innovative businesses, smart fiscal management, Michigan has momentum. In the last few years, we've made historic investments in everything from education to preschool to post-secondary. Since I took office, we've also been fixing those damn roads. I want to make sure Secretary Buttigieg heard that. The nation's fixed the damn roads guy. We have fixed 16,000 lane miles, and we've repaired 1,200 bridges, and we've replaced tens of thousands of lead service lines. We also, in the middle of all this, cut taxes for small business owners. We have funded public safety and fostered economic development in every region of the state. We've gotten a lot done together. We're also standing up for our values every single day. We're protecting workers' rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and of course, reproductive freedom for all. Because if Michigan's going to lead, we better be a place where every person can live a high quality of life, a low cost of living, and live their true lives that they design. We're a state that supports all people. Companies can recruit and retain and grow. It's pretty simple. So our message to anyone, to the world, is if you want opportunity, Michigan's the place to be. I'll continue to work with anyone to make sure that we compete with everyone and make Michigan the answer. I'm so glad that you are all Team Michigan. That should transcend geography, gender, where you live, or how you are politically identified. We are all Michiganders, and we are proud to be. And with that, I am so grateful to what is happening here at this auto show, the opportunity to highlight Michigan innovation, Michigan grit, Michigan solutions to the issues that vex the world. And I'm so grateful to be here with every one of you. Thank you.
Please welcome Ryan Buchalski, President of the United Auto Workers Local 598.
Good afternoon, welcome to the magnificent Motor City, Detroit! Home of the labor movement, home of the UAW since 1935. Is there anybody here from the labor movement? Anybody here? How about the UAW? Let's hear it. Anybody here from Kilney's office? All right. My name is Ryan Baholski. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to tell you, I've been a member of the UAW since I was 18 years old. I know you find it hard to believe that I don't look like I'm 25, but I've been there 28 years. Been a member of Local 598 from Flint, Michigan. Flint, home of the 52 sit-downers. Most of my time there has been spent representing hardworking women and men who build world-class trucks at the General Motors factory, Flint Assembly. All right. At the Flint Assembly plant, I've been able to make a career out of my employment with General Motors, but not without a collective bargaining agreement. It wouldn't have been possible without negotiations, wouldn't have been possible without a contract. Thanks to the UAW, I have been able to raise my family. My wife, Melissa, my daughter, Ella, my son, Phoenix, and my 5-year-old daughter. I know. That was my wife's 40th birthday present. Her name's Dylan, by the way. But I gotta tell you, I appreciate everybody being here in Detroit today to look at all the vehicles that my sisters and brothers have built, and they've worked so hard to produce. You know, over the years, the last 2 years, the Biden and Harris administration has taken concrete steps to reverse many of the harmful policies implemented under President, I can't even say his name, that rolled back the clock on workers' rights, access to affordable quality health care, and civil rights. Before assuming office, the President said he intended to be the most pro-union president, leading the most pro-union administration in American history. You've shown that you will, and you have, and you work with all of us and focused on pressing issues that impact not only our members, but all of our workers. We would like to thank you for firing NLRB General Counsel Peter Robb, who unilaterally dismissed our case against Honeywell for brazenly locking out our members. You have openly embraced collective bargaining rights and made the expansion of unions a stated goal for your administration. The White House Task Force on Worker Organizing and Empowerment has also been extremely helpful by mobilizing the federal government's policies and programs to empower workers to organize and successfully bargain with their employers. Last month, they signed the CHIPS Act into law, ensuring that the U.S. does not run into the issues we saw during the pandemic come up again, forcing us to keep thousands of union-made vehicles in lots unable to be sold. These initiatives will help grow the U.S. economy and create hundreds of thousands of good-paying middle-class jobs in advanced manufacturing and other fields. We've also been working to gain more investments to aid with the transition to electric vehicles and to support the infrastructure needed to create a strong EV industry in the United States. Because if they're not built here, they will simply be imported. The transition to electric power is also taking hold in agricultural implement and heavy-duty industries. With the election of President Biden, we are working at every leverage point to demand these jobs are good union jobs, good paying union jobs in the United States. At the end of the day, the lasting solution is to elect policymakers who will protect the workers their rights and fight back against efforts to take away people's ability to collectively bargain, and that's what we have with President Biden. I want to thank UAW Region 1D Director Steve Dawes and my President, UAW President Curry, for this amazing opportunity to introduce to you the most union and labor-friendly president in American history, kicking ass for the working class, President Joe Biden!
Detroit. You have chairs. I'm going to say you've been standing a hell of a long time. You don't have any chairs there. Well, please sit down. You've probably heard twice already everything I'm going to say. But I want to say, by the way, I drove all three of these vehicles. In other places, on the back lawn of the White House, there's still tire marks. Anyway, it's great to be back at the auto show, and I want to thank you, Ryan, for that introduction. And I say to your wife, child, no purgatory for you, straight to heaven, being married to Ryan. I tell you. Governor Whitmer, thank you for the invitation today. Where's the Gov? There you go, Gov. As my mother would say, God love you, dear. You're the best. You're the best. And that short guy next to you on your right, I don't know, man. Get up here, Lieutenant Governor. And I shouldn't do this, but it's going to take a long time, but you got the best mayor in the United States of America right here in Doug. He had to spend more time with me than he never thought during the last, not last, 2 administrations ago. We're sitting one day in the Oval Office, I swear to God, and President Obama turned to me and said, Joe, go fix Detroit. I said, oh, no problem. None. And I put myself in the hands of your mayor, and I know every single neighborhood of most homes in your state, in your city. But anyway, thanks, Mike. You're a good friend. And so many other people that are here. You've heard most everybody else speak so far. My colleagues in the Senate and the House, you've heard from Commander Dingell. I tell you what, I don't screw around. Whatever she says, I do. And by the way, as everyone will tell you, she's over here, Mr. President. No. But guess what? She's always right. Debbie, I love you. Thank you. Debbie's like my sister, just tells me what to do, and usually she's right. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being. Look, and Mike, thanks a lot for the passport in the city. Our infrastructure law, by the way, as we get off the airport today, you know, and this is not what this is about. We're investing $80 million in your airports. $80 million. Everything from the restrooms to the stations to a little bit like the governor's doing, fixing all your roads and everything else around here. But at any rate, look, and my friend Ray Curry is here. Where are you, Ray? Ray, there you are. As the saying goes in Claymont, the city I moved to in Delaware when I was in third grade, UAW brung me to the dance. And I got elected in 1972 as a 29-year-old kid to the United States Senate. And it's because we used to have the highest percentage of auto workers of any state in the nation, higher than here, because we had such a small population. And we had about 14% of our entire population was auto workers. We had the largest Chrysler plant outside of Detroit, and we had the largest GM plant. And we had an awful lot of carriers as well. So anyway, I want to thank you all. I also want to thank the CEOs of all the major auto companies who are here today. for leading the way. They've stepped up. You know, you all know I'm a car guy. I'm here because the auto show and the vehicles here give me so many reasons to be optimistic about the future, and I really mean it. Just looking at them and driving them, they just give me a sense of optimism, although I like the speed too. And for most of the last century, we led the world in this by significant margin, and because we invested in our people, we invested in ourselves, and something went wrong along the way here. Something went wrong. We risked losing the edge as a nation, and China and the rest of the world are catching up. We used to invest almost 2% of our entire GDP in research and development, now 0.7%. And the rest of the world's catching. But not anymore. Now we're choosing to build a better America. An America that's confronting the climate crisis with America's workers leading the way. And we're rebuilding an economy, a clean energy economy, and we're doing it from the bottom up and the middle out. I'm so tired of trickle down, I can't stand it. And by the way, remember, when the middle class grows, everybody does well. The poor have a way up, and the wealthy do very well. And by the way, don't forget, middle class build America, and unions built the middle class. That's a fact. And nowhere is that more evident than right here in Michigan, where you're building the future of the electric vehicle. We're bringing back U.S. manufacturing jobs, 680,000 jobs just since I took office. Good paying jobs, union jobs, middle class jobs, jobs that give you a sense of dignity and a fair shot. My dad used to say, all I want is just a little bit of breathing room. Just a family should have just a little bit of breathing room and be treated with dignity. I used to be that to buy an electric car, you had to make all sorts of compromises. But not now. Thanks to American ingenuity, American engineers, American auto workers, it's all changing. Today, if you want an electric vehicle with a long range, you can buy one made in America. If you want one that charges quickly, buy American. If you want one that's fast in the quarter mile, buy American. So, by the way, while we're here in Detroit, building in America, we're making it easier for folks at home to buy it here in America. Companies have announced new investments of more than $36 billion in electric vehicles and $48 billion in battery manufacturing here in the U.S. And we're just getting started. I signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act. It gives tax credits to new electric vehicles, fuel cell vehicles, made in America. And for the first time, you get a tax credit if you buy a used electric vehicle. That's all coming. And part of the infrastructure law, we're investing $7.5 billion to build electric vehicle charging stations all across America. So today, I'm pleased to announce we're approving funding for the first 35 states, including Michigan, to build their own electric charging infrastructure throughout their state. And y'all are going to be part of a network of 500,000 charging stations. 500,000 throughout the country, installed by the IBEW. Boy, I owe a special thanks to for the last election. Look, folks, the Great American Road Trip is going to be fully electrified. Whether you're driving coast to coast along I-10 or on I-75 here in Michigan. Charging stations will be up and easy to find as gas stations are now. We're also going to invest $7 billion to make American car companies and have the batteries and other critical materials they need. The auto companies like Ford, GM, Stellantis, I still am inclined to say that other word, Chrysler. My dad worked for them for a while. Are all our partners here. They made commitments. We're investing billions of dollars in themselves to go electric. And we're lucky to have the most skilled auto workers in the world, and that's not hyperbole. The single most skilled auto workers in America are right here today, UAW. I'm not joking. You know what I tell people? What I tell business, and I'm not joking, Whether I'm speaking to the Chamber of Commerce or the Business Roundtable or any of the major organizations. Why am I so pro-union? They don't give you the credit. American people don't understand. For you to go through the apprentice program and other trades, you got 4 or 5 years, like going to college. You're getting paid a little bit, not a lot, but you're working like hell before you get certified. And it's cheaper long term to hire you because you do it the best, it lasts the longest, and in fact, you do it with everybody. No, I really mean it. And by the way, we don't tell people that. People don't know that. Neighborhoods I come from, they know it, but they don't know that. It's not that they're mean about it, they just don't understand. Think one day you show up and you got a trade, man, you're all set. But you work like the devil to get there. And your work product shows it. I recently signed the CHIPS and Science Act, investing billions of dollars in research and development, workforce training, manufacturing incentives to bring semiconductor manufacturing back to America. We invented that little computer chip. We invented it here in the United States of America. We don't have to rely on other countries to power smartphones, washing machines, automobiles, and so much more. Last week I was in Ohio to break ground on a multi-billion-dollar semiconductor manufacturing plant at Intel. 7,000 construction jobs. By the way, Davis-Macon, wage, nothing less. And folks, 3,000 full-time jobs making an average of $135,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree for all those jobs. Skilled workers. So folks, all told, my administration is investing more than $135 billion to advance America's electric vehicle future. Our infrastructure law is also helping to make it in America and win the economic race of the 21st century. Once-in-a-generation investment in our nation's roads, bridges, railroads, ports, airports, lead-free water systems, high-speed internet. It's the biggest investment in American infrastructure since President Eisenhower's interstate highway system. It's a little bit like what your governor does. Filling all those potholes and building all those roads. No, you came through, you said you're going to do it, and you guys did it. And folks, look, we've awarded $25 million to upgrade 2 miles of Michigan Avenue connecting downtown and Corktown, Detroit. Well, that's because of the leadership of the mayor and the governor. You all know the neighborhood where the Tigers used to play, you know, on the corner at Michigan and Trumbull. Well, I tell you what, this funding is going to help restore Michigan Avenue and the former glory and make improvements in the future as well. And folks, with the governor's leadership, we're spending $1 billion $1 billion to clean up and restore areas around the lakes, including the Detroit River, Kalamazoo River, Rogue River, as well as Torch Lake. And that goes to your folks sitting here, right here in front of me. And they're big deals. That's going to make a significant impact on the economy of this state, and by the way, the entire Great Lakes system. And it really is. I don't know, people, I wish I had time. Well, I don't want to take your time, but there's so much to explain that people would, when they go, whoa, I didn't know it would do that. But you see these two ladies sitting in the front here? Don't get in their way, because they want to make sure that gets done. And we got a Secretary of Transportation and a Secretary of Energy and a Secretary who all are with us, and they want to make sure it gets done too. Folks, look, when you see these big projects in your hometowns, cranes going up, shovels in the ground, workers with hard hats on, I want you to feel the way I feel, and I really mean it. Pride in what we can do when we do it together. There's nothing we can't do. Working with so many of you here today, my economic agenda has ignited historic manufacturing boom here in America. Where is it written that says we can't be the manufacturing hub of the world? Where's that written? Well, we are now. We're way far away. What happened? Where does it say the most advanced nation of the world can't, and by the way, I won't go into that. But no, I know many of you watching at home are like the folks I grew up with in Scranton and Claymont, Delaware. You feel left out, left behind in an economy and industry that's rapidly changing. You wonder, where's my place going to be in that economy? I understand. I really do. One of the reasons why my dad moved from Scranton, when coal died, everything died. Had to find new ways to learn new skills, new work. Well, but hear me. We're going to leave nobody behind. We're going to be working with companies, community colleges, technical schools, union-led apprenticeship training programs to make sure American workers are prepared to compete and outcompete anybody in the world. And I'm not joking. I am not joking. Earlier this month, I announced a $52 million grant for the American Rescue Plan. That's a partnership right here in Detroit, including the big three, United Auto Workers, to train workers and upgrade factories for electric vehicle revolution. For example, just like they used to be building carburetors, you aren't going to be doing that much anymore with electric vehicles. But we're going to have to build an awful lot of vehicle batteries. And the first people to get those jobs, the first people to train for those jobs, the people that are going to be able to do those jobs, anybody displaced. Anybody displaced. You know, I work with longshoremen back in my state and around the country. And you know, when we got all this new modern equipment to deal with the supply chain, to speed up product coming in, well, we put all these new cranes and equipment in. But I made a deal with I suggested that the business side of that equation was, anybody displaced by any modernization, they got to get the jobs to run those cranes. They got to get the jobs to be trained on every new thing that was going on. And the same thing's going to happen with auto workers. Anybody displaced because they're not in money. I ran for office to build a better America, not just to get us back to how things were before the pandemic. So we launched a once-in-a-generation effort to invest in America. We're working to deliver an economy that finally works for working families. We started with the American Rescue Plan. It's taken us from economic crisis to economic resurgence. Jobs are up, incomes are up, people are back to work. And this is a governor who knew how to take that money and use it to keep cops, firefighters, ambulance folk. I mean, you did. Some of the governors literally pocketed the money. They put it to they wanted to reduce taxes with it. But you used it to keep people employed, keep schools open, keep it all running. You're a great governor. You're a great governor. And by the way, American manufacturing is roaring back. Just since I've been in office, we've already created 10 million new jobs. More jobs in that time period than any time in American history. Unemployment rate is 3.7%, near a 50% low, a 50-year low. But there's more we can do. But the American people should have confidence that we are on the right track. We're doing all this while cutting the deficit at the same time. Used to always hear from my friends in the other team, yeah, they spend a lot of money and maybe some of it worthwhile, but they're just increasing the deficit. Guess what? First year in office, we reduced the deficit by $350 billion. And guess what? This year, we're on track at the end of the fiscal year to reduce the deficit by over $1 trillion. And we'll cut it by another hundreds of billions of dollars more over the next decade because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Because Medicare is going to be able to negotiate lower drug prices, meaning taxpayers pay out less money. Look, these investments are also tools to fight against climate change. Building cars with zero tailpipe pollution, running on a cleaner grid, making and inventing the technologies that are going to power the future. Let me close with this. When President Obama and I took office back in 2009, the auto industry was on its back. We were told, as you remember, and this was one career, by the way, as I said, all kidding aside, my state used to have the highest percentage of auto workers of any state in the nation. They're all gone now. It's all gone now. But used to have the highest percentage. And guess what? We were told when the automobile industry was going belly up, that it would never recover. And the answer, we weren't going to be able to sell American-made cars at the same rate as we did before. We didn't listen. And this is the God's truth, because the debate we had internally was, and I made the case, so the president, we bet on the UAW to bring it back. Swear to God, you brought it back. No, I'm not joking. Think about it. The UAW brought it back. That's who we bet on. We're betting on you again. You got a lot of help from American engineers, from American innovation. We extended a lifeline, and we stepped up, and we saved more than 1 million jobs. Because of that work, the U.S. auto manufacturer is in a position today to drive full speed ahead. I believe we can own the future of the automobile market. I believe we can own the future of manufacturing. American manufacturing is back, Detroit is back, America's back, and folks, we're proving it's never, ever, ever a good bet to bet against the American people. Never, never, never. You just got to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. We are the United States of America. And there's literally, I mean this sincerely, there's not a damn thing we can't do. Nothing, 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 if we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.